Now when it comes to Drake, well, if you are ready to see how with yet another show on the Kendrick Lamar turned me into a Karen clown show circus, Drake just had another rant on stage and has never looked more delusional and insane for it. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And now really, as Drake has now fully gone from trying to be all about family matters to Karen matters in the span of a year, and so have all of his delusional fans with him, I gotta ask once again to leave that like, because the Drake fans keep annoying me and they don't want you to see these videos. But with the current state of where Drake's tour is at, well, not really. If this was not rap's biggest Stranger Things fanatic and it was other rappers who were known to rant and crash out on stage in the past, well, the media would be saying the worst things right now about Drake. Because really, if there were more people aware of the decay that is happening to the biggest Karen in rap flat out right now, the entire world would see how this mega Karen has truly morphed into not just a bitter and pathetic figure of what they once were, but even worse than that. What's really fueling this gargantuan size fall off is the fact that the circle of people around keep validating him to dive further and further into this persona, and as a result, further and further away from what any of us could even try to understand here in reality. And that's specifically what I'm talking about, is coming after a tour and set of shows where already every humiliating thing has pretty much happened to Drake. Within this, we already saw that whole weird tangent where he said that he was not a snake, only to find out right after that he has never been a bigger one. And then of course, every other bad thing has happened, from having to cancel shows for strange reasons, to people throwing toilet paper at you, to people trying to recycle right next to you on stage with water bottles, and forgetting your lyrics. But now all of this is coming together to have another mega Karen moment. As really, with the latest moment from Drake, what we have seen is almost worse, and it's definitely more baffling in terms of what we are hearing Drake say this time. Because just in terms of somebody trying to be a master manipulator, well, when we look at the first rant he made about snakes, that one kind of made sense from the perspective of trying to peddle lies onto your fans more and more to get them to support you no matter what. The rant that we hear here feels like a disjointed script that was thrown out at the Stranger Things audition room that Drake was hanging out for way too long. Because seriously, the thoughts that Drake is trying to push to create this further and further persona of a victim here are genuinely baffling. And so now let's just get into the latest Lose It moment from Losberry, which says, and I will regretfully quote, "I had everybody tell me it would never happen for you." Well, it would never happen to you because you were on a TV show and you were a child actor. Which, quick pause, technically Drake was a teen actor, and I don't know why he keeps using these strange and specific phrases, because I don't even have to say any more things. The jokes just write themselves. And let me just break this down for a second. When Drake is saying that he wouldn't become a famous musician because he already was famous for being an actor, I mean, are you really going to try to sit here and act like you are a victim when you already had some sort of a platform and had connections in the industry to make way for yourself? But listen, I'm going to stop now. I'm not going to lose it yet. And let's continue to read this quote. "It will never happen to you because you are from Canada."
And you know what? I can't even read the rest of this quote, because with Drake trying to say that he is a victim because of how he looks and because he's not a real gangster, listen, I have seen it all. I don't even know what to say. And now, fortunately for Drake, the rest of this rant, and for however long it went, it seemingly did get cut off, because one of the Drake fans who ended up putting this thing out and did him the disservice of doing that, I guess, did not want to post this entire thing, because however it ended may have been even worse than what we are already hearing. And really with this is an entire new low that when we break down, I don't even know how to make sense of. Because what we are seeing, first off, is Drake not just rewrite history and try to act like he had some of the worst odds to ever break into the rap game or break into the music industry, because that's just not the case. But within this, what we are also seeing with him doing another one of these insane monologues is more of what was supposed to be a concert where people would go to hear music into these vent sessions where he is just showing how immature and embarrassing he really is. Because for anyone to be seeking validation in this sad of a way, well listen, while somebody like Kendrick Lamar and Tyler the Creator thanked their fans and performed their greatest songs, and they did all of the searching they needed to do on their own albums like Mr. Morale or Chromacopia, well listen, while Drake was sitting here making fun of them, he is showing that he needed to do that himself, because he has some serious issues that he really needs to work through. Because ultimately, to just see an artist start to yell at their fans and ask them to validate his delusion while making them perform his songs for him all at the same time, well, again, this looks like something now that the guy who made Graduation once did, and when he did it, everybody went crazy. And what we are seeing here, I think, is not too far from that, just in terms of how we are seeing these people crash out on stage in front of us. And so really, when we put this into perspective, we are not just seeing a tour where there is a nightly meltdown and crash out, and that's just becoming a regular thing that you can count on to see just as much as you see Drake doing the lamest karaoke possible. But really, when you look into this quote, what you see is that Drake is just saying literally anything and hoping that it makes some sort of sense. And the worst part about all of this is that now, while if Drake was just spiraling and people were laughing, well, then this wouldn't be as much of a problem and it would just be a man doing some strange things, I guess. Well, again, what's the difference between Drake and the guy who made Graduation and his rants is that this is not the case, as somehow what Drake is doing is kind of working on a group of people, as with there being this entire effort to still rewrite the beef and convince us that everything was a setup, and then all the drama with the Not Like Us suit is real and that this outcome is ultimately going to flip when the Iceman reveals what's truly going on. Well, ultimately, with the delusion that is being fed to all of these people who support a 40-year-old man, Stranger Things superfan, and with acts like we are seeing Drake do right here, he is really making these problems worse and worse, and he's making people somehow support him more and more, which again just shows that you could just do anything and people will follow you at this point. I don't know what else to say, because really now, while all of us can see through the lies and laugh at the fact that a 40-year-old man who has been in the industry for years and years is acting like he just made it out and he has some crazy underdog story that never really was, again, for the fans who love Drake, also love anything but hip-hop in this culture, love being annoying, and also Stranger Things, they are believing this. And as a result, the OVO echo chamber is getting louder and louder to the point where, even with all the great hip-hop music and moments that are coming out, nothing can be enjoyed without getting yelled at by the people who support lame-o Lou Bray, or people from OVO directly who just keep trying to take apart everything that's even the slightest amount of fun that we have. And this is important to understand, because when you see the speeches and the meltdowns that just keep going down on this tour, what Drake is doing is just fully immersing himself into this persona of just lies and chaos and manipulation, like it's the Green Goblin mask on him at this point. And he is going to follow this thing until he retires from music and just being the most annoying celebrity you possibly can. And again, if you don't believe what I'm saying here, we are really headed to a weirder and weirder place, and that is already clear, because if we look at what Drake is doing with the rest of the OVO brand simultaneously alongside these rants, well, it's showing that the entire culture of this group is just surrounded and shrouded in hating Kendrick Lamar and thinking that everything was stolen from Drake, and there's this huge conspiracy because, and this is real, if we look at now how OVO released a collection of shirts that are really directly playing more into this idea that they have this big secret and that they were the victims to Kendrick Lamar and that he was this puppet or whatever they're trying to say. I don't even know anymore how to make sense of it. Well, really, when you see that the 40-year-olds who call themselves the Icemen and who are obsessed with Pinocchio believe that Drake still has not pressed this red button, and this has all been this elaborate play, and now as a result, they're believing these victim stories and they're getting uniforms for it now, what happened to the game I love? But seriously, these victim speeches are actually working on them. And with this, we are just so past rapping and being the slightest bit in reality. Because again, with people defending Drake's lies and meltdowns and now giving him more support by wearing these anti-Kendrick Lamar uniforms, I mean, this is some of the most ridiculous stuff I ever seen. And when you root so much of your beliefs and your fan base now in things that are not real and there is no proof of, well, I don't know, Lou Bray is living in Narnia or some sort of fantasy world where there were some strange things going on. Speaking of strange things, while Lou Bray is going to continue to make these weird speeches, put out these weird shirts, I'm sure, and do whatever he can to try and look like the biggest loser there has ever been, all to try and gain more sympathy from these people who actually believe in him, well, listen, we are at a point where Drake is getting the branding ready and the ideology right there to assemble the biggest group of Karens ever. And listen, at this point, if you are still on the fence about where to stand with this guy, I mean, all I can say is that if you are really believing in this stuff, or you're getting these shirts, or just support this movement in any sort of capacity, again, when you look at what you're contributing to and see how you're keeping this Green Goblin mask of lies further and further connected to Aubrey's personality, I mean, you're trying to ruin everything hip-hop has ever stood for.
And now, with all of this said, let me know, what do you think about Drake just losing his mind here and playing the victim card in one of the most embarrassing ways we have ever seen here? And what do you think about how this delusion is now really creating a base of stans that are going to go with him wherever he wants? I can't wait to hear what you have to say about all this. And now, if you made it to this point of the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And now, really, if you want to see how, right within all of this chaos and all these crash outs, something great just happened in rap, as we got a very good album from Jay, and he just made a strong mark on the rap world, and everything going on within this shift and all these things around lyricism as a whole, well, check out the suggested video. You're not going to want to miss this.